Hi, teacher.
Hello, hello, good evening, Mariana. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes, thank you.
That's great. Let's begin with today's conversation. Mariana, as I told you, we're going to be working with this new dynamic. We're going to be analyzing videos and having discussions about it. All right?
Okay.
Good. I'm sharing my screen now so that you can also listen to what I listen to. There you go. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to be playing this. And I'm going to be stopping every, let's say, 30 seconds or so. And I'm going to be asking you everything that you understood. And we're going to be like having conversations there. Let me play and tell me if you can listen to it, please.
Yes, I can listen.
Very good. So let's begin. Let's pay attention. Let's begin now. First 30 seconds.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish.
Okay? Until that part. Those are the first 30 seconds. I'm going to try to even turn up a little bit more the volume, but
But their
what,
water composition.
what were you able to understand so far, Mariana? What about these first 30 seconds? What can you tell me about this video?
Okay, for this first part, I can understood that human is consist by 55 and 16% of water, and the babies is like similar like a fish, 75%.
Okay, okay, good. In the first part, I want to ask you if you remember this, but great. I can see that you have very good listening skills. That's very positive, Mariana, so that's great. Now, then, well, let's go a little bit further, and I'm going to try to ask for more details. It doesn't matter if you don't remember because those are like, let's say, accessory details. But do you remember some elements that affect that index, let's say, of the water that we have in our body?
No, 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 no.
Don't worry. That's why I told you those are accessory. These ones. Do you remember something about these pictures? Let's try to
Mm,
understand.
nope.
Okay, I'm going to play this one more time and let's try to listen to this. And you're going to tell me more or less what are these four elements. All right?
Teacher, can you give me seconds, please? My dog is bark too much and I can't listen, please.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Okay, teacher, sorry.
Perfect. No, don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. It happens. I
Yeah.
also have my pets, so it happens a lot. There
Oh,
you go. So let's do it. I'm going to play this part again and try to listen for the details of those four elements. All right?
okay.
Good. So let's begin.
On factors like location, fat
One more time, sorry.
index,
A little bit like from here.
water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water.
Okay, until that part. So what do you get from these elements that they are mentioning, Maria?
Okay. They say that the water is on everything part, like on the eyes and all the bodies and the bodies of the humans, and also this part, this element is like location, age, sex, and I don't can't understood what is BMA.
Okay, I'm going to help you with that. BMI is going to be like the acronym for body mass index. It's related to your weight. All right,
Ah,
body mass index related to your weight. So yes, very good. According to your location, to your body mass index, right? They say something different. They say your fat index. All right, your body fat index, which is the same. Yes, the years that you have, right, the age that you've been living in a certain place or that you've been living generally, and the gender, right, the percentage of the water that you have in your body is going to vary, right, from 55 to 60% according to those elements, right? So
okay.
to get now every element, I'm going to turn on the subtitles, of course, English only, and we're going to go until that 30-second part. Let's do.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location,
Okay, so let's listen to it. It says location, fat index, that is the other word for body mass index, right?
fat index, age,
Um,
and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their
Right? So that's the part. So I'm going to turn off the subtitles now. So let's keep listening for 30 more seconds and we're going to do the same exercise. Let's
okay.
continue.
water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So, what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly
Until that part. All right, so those are 30 seconds. What else were you able to get in these following 30 seconds,
Okay, for these 30 seconds, I can understand that water is on our bodies, like H2O, and these have a functions that regulate the blood, they cushion the bones, and also transfer water to the brain. And the water isn't only in the blood.
Maria? Okay, okay. Now, besides that, again, you mentioned one of those things, which is perfect. Now, let's analyze a little bit more about the other elements that we have. I think it was here. Give me a second. Yes, there you go, right? So you mentioned one of these three, Mariana. Let's try again. How can you explain these three pictures that we have here?
Okay, the first is for cushion the bones, and the second is for regulate the temperature of our bodies, and the third is for transfer water to the brain.
Okay, let's take a look at it one more time and we're going to verify. Give me a second. Let's begin here.
healthy. The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints.
Yes, correct, right? Very well. Cushion, and they are also using one other verb, which is lubricate, right? Great. To cushion and lubricate the joints, right? Great,
Regulate temperature, and
right? So in this case, also it's related to joints. These are bones, but specifically speaking, joints. Very good to regulate, right? The temperature.
to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
Exactly, right? And to nourish. What is a synonym of nourish, Mariana? It says to nourish the brain and the spinal cord. What is for you a synonym of nourish?
Mm, I don't know. I don't. No, no, teacher, I don't know.
Okay, we're going to see. Do you see this word? Nourish is going to be very similar to feed when you feed your dog, for example.
Uh,
All right. Feed is going to be like a synonym of a nourish. That is like sending, giving some nutrients and giving some important elements, right? So nourish is going to be similar to feed something, right? To give not food, but important elements to survive. Great.
um, Okay, and then nourishes like give to the brain like a nutrient.
Yes, some nutrients. Exactly. When you nourish something, you are giving it, let's say, food or vitamins or like any element that is going to help that organ or that, let's say, organism. All right.
Okay.
So it's very similar to that. So let's listen again to these 30 seconds with subtitles this time. And anytime you have any questions, you're going to let me know. Let's do it.
To fish, but their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's
Right? So we stop here. This is interesting, right? The adult's brain and heart are like 3/4 water. So there's a lot of water in our bodies, right? This is something we already know, but let's continue from this part, the next 30 seconds.
roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water. If we are essentially made of water and surrounded by water, why do we still need to drink so much? Well, each day we lose 2 to 3 liters through our sweat, urine, and bowel movements, and even just from breathing. While these functions are essential to our survival,
Okay, until that part, Mariana, one more time. Please, the same question over there. What were you able to understand until that part?
Okay, that a ver, for this part, I can understand that loans are consist by 83%, and is like similar to Apple, and our bones is consist by 31%, is like I can remember, and also say that is recommended to drink 3 liter the water.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be helping you with some words over there. For example, when you want to talk about ability in the past, Mariana, tell me which of the two sentences I'm going to say is correct. I can understood or I could understand. Which one would be the best option over there?
I can't understood.
All right. So in that case, you have to use the verb after any modal, after can, would, will, after should. It's always going to be the base form only. So we cannot say I can understood. So if you want to say that idea, Mariana, you have to say the modal can in the past. The past of can is could. So it's better if you say I, I'm writing it in the chat. All right. I could understand. All right. That's the past of can. Or you can also say I was able to understand. But the main verb, Mariana, is always going to be in the base form. The main verb is not going to be in past, even if your ideas, for example, these two ideas that are in the chat, Mariana, are in past. But understand, it's always going to be only understand. We're not going to say understood. All right. So I could understand, it's past. I was able to understand is past again. All right. So good. Very good. Some words that you were mentioning, for example, liter, right? Some liter, 3, 4, 5 liters of water. Great. There you go. And you can say that something is composed by a certain percentage of water. But let's take a look at those details with the subtitles, and we're going to be stopping to show those words. Great.
that's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water. If we are essentially made of water and surrounded by water, why do we still need to drink so much? Well, each day we lose 2 to
All right. So this word, right? That the word that you were using. So let's listen how they are going to pronounce that one.
We lose 2 to 3 liters through our sweat.
Right. So it's going to be liters. There you go. So we lose a lot of water throughout the day, right?
Urine and bowel movements, and even just from breathing. While these
So let's analyze these three elements, Mariana. As you can see, we lose 2 to 3 liters through our sweat. You know what's a sweat, right?
Yes.
each day we lose 2 to 3 liters through our sweat,
So sweat is one. Urine, also I know that you know that one.
urine, and bowel movements.
Now, what are bowel movements? Each related to urine, each related to, of course, well, I'm going to mention this because maybe it's important to know everything. Bowel movements, right? It's related to defecation, right? To defecate. So when you do those three things, you lose approximately from 1 to 3 liters of water. And that's a lot. Now, here goes one question, perhaps, Mariana, for you to finish the conversation. How's your relationship, let's say, with water in the sense of how much water do you consume per day, Mariana? And do you believe that it's important to keep a diet that includes water as part of it?
Okay. For me, it's too important drink water. Personally, I am doing exercise every day, and for this, I can consume some water, like two 2/4 of liter, and
Liter?
I liter, and I think that is very important. That water is with an specific diet for everyone. Personally, I can really good relationship with the water.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Mariana. So, do you have any final questions or comments before finishing today's conversation?
And even
No.
just from breathing.
Sorry,
While these
let me close
functions
this.
are
Sorry,
essential to our survival,
it's
we need
dropped
to
over
compensate for
there.
the fluid loss.
All right. So here we're going to stop. Thank you very much for being part of today's conversation. Mariana, I'll see you tomorrow to continue with the class. If you have any doubts or questions, you can always ask them. All right?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Good. You're very welcome. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Bye, teacher. Have a good
Bye
night.
bye. Thank you.
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mariela. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes, yes, teacher, I am fine. Thank you.
Perfect. Are you ready for today's conversation?
Yes.
Great. Let's begin then, Mariela. Comencemos entonces. You know that we're going to be adding this new method, ¿no? Estamos añadiendo este, entre comillas, nuevo método para empezar a practicar un poco más lo que es el listening, ¿no? Que es un elemento muy importante. Entonces, yo como siempre voy a compartir mi pantalla, pero esta vez, tanto el sonido como la pantalla se van a encargar de reproducir un pequeño ya video, pero ni siquiera lo voy a reproducir este pequeño video de 4 minutos, sino voy a ir cortando cada 30 segundos para que veamos qué fuimos capaces de entender. Evidentemente las imágenes van a ayudar, es la intención del video, pero todo lo que fuiste capaz de entender vas a tratar de transmitírmelo. De todas maneras vamos a volver los 30 segundos, los vamos a ir analizando parte por parte para que entendamos qué es lo que dice la persona que está hablando. ¿Ok?
Okay. Okay.
Good. So let's begin. The first 30 seconds, los primeros 30 segundos. Aún no hay subtítulos, nada, por eso puede ser un poco complicado. Try to get all the information that you can, ¿no? Trata de obtener y de retener toda la información que puedas. Let's begin now. Empezamos ahora.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish.
All right. So those are the first 30 seconds. I know that they can be a little bit hard, right? But what can you tell me about this 30 seconds, Mariela? ¿Qué podría decirme de esos 30 segundos?
The video is informative.
Okay. Good.
Um,
Very good.
sobre
It's about? Huh? It's about what?
about the important importancia, perdón,
Importance? The importance of?
importance of the water.
Good. Very good. All right. Yes. The main topic is the water and its importance, right? Very good. Yes. And it's a video that is given important information as well, right? Good. I'm going to try to play one more time, and I'm going to do it this time with subtitles, Maria. All right. So we can read the subtitles. Again, subtitles are in English, but we're going to try to understand. Try in these 30 seconds, en esos 30 segundos, Mariela, vamos a tratar de prestar atención a una cosa así, que está dividida en unas partes. Vas a tratar de decirme qué elementos afectan a la cantidad de agua que nosotros tenemos. ¿Ok? Trata de prestar atención a eso. En un punto van a mostrar 4 elementos que afectan la cantidad o el porcentaje de agua que nosotros tenemos en nuestro cuerpo. So, let's do it. Vamos a escuchar entonces.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water.
All right, until that part, right? En esa parte creo que se mencionó. Were you able to understand, Mariela, what are the elements that affect the percentage of water that we have? ¿Cuáles son los elementos que afectarían entonces? Do you remember some?
The elements are sex, location,
Very good.
age.
Perfect, perfect. And one more, una más está faltando, que es complicadito el otro, lo sé. These are the 4, right? Very good. Location, great. Age, great. Sex, great. And the one that is missing is this one, Mariela. What do you think is this one?
I don't remember, teacher.
Don't worry, it's hard, incluso sabiendo o entendiendo bien lo que es el inglés, no es complicado porque es muy específico. Look, I'm going to turn on the subtitles, voy a prender los subtítulos, and read the subtitles, vas a leer los subtítulos. This is fat index, all right? It's fat index. Esto en sí significa, ok, es body mass index, ¿ya? Es como el índice de masa corporal.
Okay.
So body mass index. So what we're talking about is, in big words, like weight, ¿no? En grandes palabras como el peso, pero es diferente, ¿no? El índice de masa corporal, or fat index as well. Okay? Good.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55.
Right, this is interesting, right? The average, what is average? Like promedio, right? So the average human is between 55 and 60% water. And what are the elements that affect that? These 4 elements, right? According to location, body mass index, age, and sex, you can be composed by 55 to 60% water, right?
Between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter, being 75%.
And this is interesting, right? Babies, when they are born, right, cuando nacen, they are composed by 75% water. And what are they similar to? They are similar to a fish.
And water, they are
The most
swimmingly similar to
part,
fish.
Right? So
sorry,
tell
um,
me,
the
Maria.
most part of body the babies is is water.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. Exactly. Right? The most part or most of the part of the body, right, of the babies exactly is 75%. That's like three quarters, right? Como tres cuartos del cuerpo. Three quarters of the body
Mhm.
is water, which is similar to fish. Now, I'm
Okay.
turning off the subtitles. Se quitan los subtítulos nuevamente, Mariela. Nuevamente voy a reproducir 30 segundos, así que trata de entender alguna información de esos 30 segundos y nuevamente voy a detenerme. So, let's listen.
But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount.
All right, until that part. What were you able to understand, Mariela, right? What could you understand?
Um, the heart and brain occup, occupy the most part of the water, and the babies when they grow up
Uh-huh, very good.
reduce reduce
Reduce, good.
reduce and the percentage of
Uh-huh,
of, of the water of
yes,
water.
very good. It drops, right? It reduces the percentage of water. Great. Now here,
Percent-
this is the composition of the brain, right? The brain is composed by three quarters of water, and the heart is composed by three quarters of water. It means only these organs, right? This organ is three quarters of water, and this organ is three quarters of water, which is a lot, right? It's a lot. I'm going to go back. Volvemos a entender parte por parte. But it was great, Mariel. Estaba perfecto lo que pudimos entender. Now let's see that reduction. Vamos a ver esa reducción de la que me hablaste.
To fish, but their water composition drops to
Right? Aquí usamos otra palabra.
65% by their first birthday.
Sorry. I'm going to put that there. Sorry. Doesn't let me know. I don't know what's happening. Okay,
So what role does
good. This part one more time. The composition, instead of reduction, en lugar de la palabra reduce, usan la palabra drop, que también quiere decir caer o reducir. So,
Okay.
the water composition drops to, se reduce a cuánto? 65% in their first birthday, right? It means when the baby is 1 year old, cuando el bebé tiene un año, right? When the baby is 1 year old, the composition of the water drops to 65%.
5% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our body
Now, this is really important. Let's try to understand without subtitles first. Primero vamos a tratar de entender sin subtítulos. Yo te voy a ayudar. There are three very important functions, all right, related to H2O. Tres funciones muy importantes relacionadas con el agua.
works to cushion and lubricate joints.
Okay. Cushion and lubricate joints. I don't know if you understand that idea, Mariela. To
Yes.
cushion and lubricate joints. Good. The second one,
Regulate temperature and
easy, right? To regulate temperature.
Mhm.
to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
This is a little bit harder to nourish the brain and the spinal cord. Okay,
Okay.
let's do it
Okay.
one more time, and this time with subtitles or captions.
Works to cushion and lubricate joints.
Right, you have it here. Cushion and lubricate joints.
What
Regulate
is,
temperature
Yeah,
and
tell
teacher,
me,
what is cushion?
cushion, you know what's happening here? Is like they are not touching each other, no están tocando, ¿verdad? It's like como amortiguando, all right?
Okay.
Working like that. So it's lubricating and cushioning this.
lubricate
Okay.
joints, regulate temperature,
That's easy, right? This is fácil. Esa es
and to nourish the brain.
to finish this one, ¿no? Para terminar. Nourish, Mariela, it's like, for example, do you have dogs or cats, Mariela?
Sorry, teacher?
Mariela, yes, do you have dogs or cats?
Yes, yes, I have two dogs.
Okay, good. Do you know the meaning of feed, Mariela? What is the meaning of feed? If I tell you, you have to feed your dog. Huh? F-E-E-D. F-E-E-D. What is the meaning of feed? Is to give food, okay, to give nutrients. So if I tell you feed your dog, it means give food to your dog. All right. So a synonym of feed is nourish. So what is the function of water? To nourish
Okay.
the brain and the spinal cord, to give nutrients
No,
to them.
okay.
All right.
I understand.
Perfect, Mariela. Now, because of time, right, we are about the
And
time.
spinal cord.
We're going to stop here.
Water isn't only in our
De tiempo, Mariela. Do you have any final questions or comments to finish today?
Just
Tell me.
before this class.
So is everything clear? No questions or comments, Mariela?
Sorry, teacher.
Do you have any questions or comments to finish? ¿Alguna
Ah,
pregunta?
no. No.
Okay,
No.
perfect. There you go, Mariela. Thank you very much again for being here. We finish here. I'll see you tomorrow for the class. Okay?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Perfect. Bye-bye. You're welcome. See you tomorrow.
Bye, teacher.
Hello, good evening, Daniela. Are you there?
Hello. Yes.
Perfect. Let's begin with today's work. Daniela, as I told you, we're going to be working a lot with listening. So we're going to be watching only parts and segments of videos, and we're going to have a lot of conversation related to that. All right?
Okay.
Good. This video is a video from TED Ed. Is always related to education. Our main topic here is going to be water. All right? Water. So this is going to be the dynamic, Daniela. I'm going to play without subtitles, without captions, for only 30 seconds. Your job, all right, is going to be to try to listen to everything you can. And after those 30 seconds, you're going to tell me everything that you were able to understand. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to start with the first 30 seconds. Let's pay attention, please.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy?
Okay, it was more than 30 seconds, but until this part, 40 seconds. What were you able to understand so far, Daniela?
Okay. That the water is in every
in the world, and people have 60% of water, and the babies have more percent of water.
Good. Very well. Very well. Perfect. We're talking about the composition and how much percentage, right, we have. And babies at the beginning, they have a higher percentage of water in their bodies, right? Now we're going to go to more details. Vamos a ir más detalles incluso. This is to work listening. In this part, I'm going to play this part one more time, please. Daniela, only this part. You're going to tell me what are these four elements. All right, you're going to tell me what are those four elements. So let me play it.
Okay.
To the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water.
Okay, so let's go back there. What were you able to understand here, Daniela? What are these four elements? What is their function, let's say, or what do they do?
Okay, the elements are location,
Mhm.
um, years, and sex. And the second, I don't understand very well what they say.
Don't worry, we're going to get it right now. Lo vamos a entender ahorita. But great, you have location, age, and sex, right?
Yes.
Location, age, sex. Now, what do they do, Daniela? Do they affect us in a certain way? Let's listen to this.
Sex, the average human is,
This part.
depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water.
All right. So only with that part, Daniela. How do you think these elements affect us?
Um, affect first the location, depends of the country that we live,
Okay.
I
Good.
think. And the second is fact. I don't really
Great.
understand.
Perfect. Fat. It's fat index, right? Fat index. And this acronym, Daniela, is body mass index. All right. Body mass index. So this is related to the weight. All right. To the weight that we have. Good. Fat index or body mass index is like saying índice de masa corporal. All
Oh,
right.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
what else? What else can you tell me?
So, in the second, depends of the weight of the people.
Okay.
Um,
Exactly.
if yes, if one person is more teeny,
Okay.
I don't
The thinner, thinner.
thinner, or more, mm, I don't know how to say,
Huh? Yes, you can say
gordito.
fatter, right? Fatter, but don't say more. If you say thinner, don't say more. You can say if a person is thinner or fatter, right? And it's not bad. Fatter is not like an insult, right? But yes, according to how you are, right? If you are fatter, thinner, right? If your body mass index is like higher than other people's, right? Then it's going to affect. And how is it going to affect? Depends on the location, your body mass index, the age that you are, and the sex. Your percentage of water is going to vary, right? Between 55 and 60%, right? In some
Yes,
countries, if your fat index is a certain percentage, if you are 18 years old or 50 years old and you are man, right, or woman, then this is going to change between these two percentages. Okay?
okay.
So I don't know if you have any questions about this part, Daniel.
No, not teacher.
Good. Let's continue then working from the 30s, all right, from the 30th second and above.
composition drops to 65% by their first birth
I'll repeat
to
this word.
fish, but their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
Until that part, Daniela, what else were you able to understand in these following 30 seconds?
Okay, that babies, I don't know how to say, menores that 1 year.
Okay, you can say like, you want to say menores than what? One more time, please.
1 year.
Okay, yes, you can say only this expression, Daniela. Babies that are not yet 1 year old.
Okay. Babies that not yet 1 year old
Uh-huh.
have 16% of water in their bodies.
Okay,
The next was that um, we have water in the heart, brain, and um,
good,
yes,
good.
and
Okay,
sistema nervioso. I think that he say. I don't
yeah,
really know.
they mentioned some parts of the right, the nervous system. What else?
Yes. Um.
There's one part over here. I'm going to try to show this. No, this later on, we're going to go deeper with that. But here, right, they are showing the composition of that. And how can you explain this graphic over here, Daniel?
That we have three parts of four in our bodies. Mm, we have water.
All right. So is it in all our bodies? All of our body has 30, oh, this, you have to read this like 3/4. So is 3/4 the amount of water that we have in all our bodies? Or is this graphic only describing the amount of water we have in our brains and in our heart?
Um, in our brain and heart.
Exactly. And what is the comparison here, Daniel? What are they comparing to this percentage of water? 75% of water or 3/4 of water? What is the similarity to this?
Three colors of water.
Quarters,
Uh,
right? 3/4.
oh, okay, yes. They compared with a banana.
Yes, because the banana is also, right, 3/4 of water. And that's really interesting, right? So our brains and our hearts are 3/4 of water, means 75%. And a banana is also 3/4 of water. So the composition of these three elements is the same, right? Is the same, which is really interesting. I don't know if you knew these facts, Daniela.
No, teacher, everything's okay.
Okay, good. Now let's try to explain this one over here. I'm going to play this part, Daniela. Try to pay attention one more time because here you're going to tell me the role that that water plays in our bodies. Three main things, okay? Three main functions. Let's listen to it.
Our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate
That's the first one. I'm going to repeat. The first one says cushion and lubricate joints,
temperature,
regulate temperature,
and to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
nourish the brain and spinal cord. Now, how can you explain this, Daniela? Let's try to understand this right without words. So, what are the three functions of body in general in our bodies? Of water in our bodies, sorry, Daniel.
Okay, the water is important because um, mm, I, um, I don't know what word is in English.
Okay, try to use, if you remember, you can reuse one of the words that I used. Do you remember some of those words that I used here or here? For example,
Yes,
here, in the middle, what is this function related to, Daniel? It says cold, hot. What is water doing in our bodies with this?
um, regular,
Ah, good. Regulate. Good.
regular,
Regulate.
regular. Okay,
Ah,
regular. The no sé si se dice temperatura,
it's correct. You say temperature. Good.
temperature,
You can say in this way, Daniela. You can say water regulates the temperature. All right. Water regulates the temperature. So let's try to repeat that, please, Daniela.
water regulates the temperature. I don't
Good. One more time. Temperature.
temperature.
Good. So that's one function. Now that we are in the last part, I'm going to turn on the subtitles. Look, first they lubricate joints. All right, lubricate joints. For example, your arm, right? Your arm is lubricated. Your joints that you have in your arm or in your legs, all right? They lubricate the joints. The first one,
Lubricate joints, regulate temperature,
right? This is what I told you, right? Regulate temperature. That's the second one.
and to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
Now, nourish here, Daniela, nourish is to give nutrients, okay? To give important elements to the brain and the spinal cord, which is this part. I don't know if you have any questions about this part, Daniela.
No, teacher, everything is okay.
Okay, good. Now let me see the time. All right. Any final questions or comments? Daniela, we're going to be finishing this part with you. I don't know if you have any final questions or comments before, well, finishing the conversation or the practice.
No, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Now, thank you for being here, being part of this, and I'll see you tomorrow in the class. All right, Daniela?
Okay, good night, teacher.
Perfect. Good night. See you. Hello, Gaston. Are you there?
Hello, teacher. Yes, I'm here.
Great. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes, teacher. And you?
Perfect. Everything is fine. Thank you, Gaston. So we're going to start working with this new dynamic that I told you, Gaston. I'm going to be showing you parts, only parts of videos, and this is going to be the logic. I'm going to play only 30 seconds. I'm going to stop. You're going to tell me everything that you were able to understand. You can say it in your words. And we're going to play it again, this time with subtitles. The first time without subtitles, okay, without captions. The second time with subtitles and captions, and we're going to try to understand all the details that you were not able to understand, okay? So let's begin. The first 30 seconds, let's pay attention, guys.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So,
All right. So until that part, what were you able to understand, Gaston? It doesn't matter if it's only one, two ideas, but What were you able to understand about the video and the things that this person was saying?
Okay. He talked about the water. Uh, the people have 50% of water in their I don't know how to say cuerpo.
Their bodies. Their
Okay,
bodies.
yes, in your okay in the body in their bodies. The kids have 70% for water, and no 75%, and
Good.
um, the all the planets have water.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. Very good. That's the main idea, Gaston. Well done. Water is everywhere, right? Even in our bodies. So yes, our bodies are composed by a certain percentage of water, but when we are babies, we have more water, right? We have like 75%. Very good. But here, this 65 is when we turn 1 year old, right? So we are growing up and we start losing some water, right? But let's listen to it one more time, this time with subtitles, and we're going to be understanding everything this time.
Water is virtually everywhere.
Right? This is what you said, right? So water is virtually everywhere, right? In every place.
From soil moisture and ice caps.
All right? They are talking about this. It's not important, but I'm going to be telling you, Gaston, anyway. Soil refers to the ground, al suelo. Moisture refers to humedad, ¿no? Desde la humedad que existe en el suelo. And ice caps, right? Que son las cubiertas de los hielos o los elementos congelados.
Soil moisture and ice caps to the cell.
Right? Even the cells inside our bodies. This is the word that you were asking for, right, Gaston? Bodies, cuerpos.
Sir, what is the meaning of cells?
These are cells, all right? These are cells. Our bodies, Gaston, are composed by many cells, células, all right?
Okay.
Those are cells.
Depending on factors like location.
Now, this is important, Gaston. The percentage that we have in our bodies, no, it's going to depend on 4 factors. El porcentaje va a depender entonces de 4 factores. These are the 4 factors. Location,
fat index,
body mass index, right? I don't know if you understand this idea, Gaston. Fat
No,
index,
teacher.
body mass index.
What index? I don't know.
Fat index, look, I'm going to give you the translation. This is an acronym and it's Índice de Masa Corporal. All right,
okay.
that's the fat index. All right, so location, fat index,
age and sex, the average
age and sex. So these are the 4 elements that are going to affect the percentage that we have in our bodies. ¿No? Son los 4 elementos que afectan el porcentaje. So it depends where you live. It depends on your weight, right? Of your index or your body mass index, right? Body, remember, cuerpo. Mass, masa. Index, índice. The age and the sex. According to that, you're going to be
sex. The average human is between 50.
You're going to be between 55 and 60% water.
5 and 60% water.
Right? So it's not the same in every human, right?
Okay.
It's going to depend on those factors. For example, you can be perhaps, Gaston, 55%, I can be 58, someone else could be 60% water. So it changes, right? It varies, varía, cambia.
Okay.
Birth, human babies are even wetter.
Right? And this is interesting, right? At birth, this means like en el nacimiento. At birth, human babies are even wet, means húmedo. Wetter means más húmedo. So human babies are even wetter.
Even wetter, being 75%.
Right? And they are, yes, as you said very well, they are 75% water. And that's similar to what? Fish. That's a lot, right?
Water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. but their water composition drops to 65%.
Now, this is important to understand here, Gaston. The water composition of babies, you can use drops is a synonym of reduce or decreases. All right. So the water composition of babies drops, decreases, all right, reduces to 65% by their first birthday.
By their first birthday.
All right. So when babies become 1 year old, the percentage of water is going to drop down to 65%. I don't know if you have any specific questions until this part, Gaston.
Yes, I don't understand when we talk about the composition of the water in the people, the difference of the sex, the the weather, and I don't the fat index, and I don't understand the other element.
These four elements, right? So it's like saying, Gaston, it depends on where you live, depende de donde vives. Why? Because weather, el clima en general depende de donde vives, is going to change your composition, ¿no? Va a cambiar la composición de tu cuerpo en cierto aspecto según este elemento. The body mass index as well, el índice de masa corporal, it's also going to affect the amount of water you have in certain organs, it seems. Al parecer, justamente este elemento de índice corporal afecta también de alguna manera la cantidad de agua que vamos a tener en ciertos órganos de nuestro cuerpo. Age as well, as you were able to see, como pudiste ver, when you are like a little baby, cuando somos bebés, tenemos más agua. The more you age, the less water you have. Más envejecemos, menos agua tenemos en nuestro cuerpo. And that's it. And gender, this is something I cannot explain very well, es algo que no puedo explicar muy bien, but according to this, ¿no? Pero según esto, the gender or the sex, ¿no? If you are man or woman, si eres hombre o mujer, it also changes. I imagine that it's because of the organs that we have, ¿no? Imagino que es por la diferencia en órganos que tenemos. Some organs may need more water. Algunos órganos deben necesitar más agua. Perhaps in case of women, ¿no? Quizá en el caso de las mujeres, they have certain organs that need more water, ¿no? Tienen ciertos órganos que van a necesitar o que están compuestos de más agua. But that's the idea here, Gaston. I don't know if it's clearer for you now.
Yes, I understand now, teacher.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Now let's go with the next 30 seconds. I'm going to turn off the subtitles. Let's listen to the next 30 seconds.
But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
Okay, so until that part, Gaston, what else were you able to understand?
Okay, I understand the water is very, very well to our I don't know how to say. Okay, our brain and the heart have
Good.
a lot of three. I don't know how to say tres cuartos of water.
You can say 3/4. 3/4.
Three. Okay, you can write.
I'm going to write it in the chat. Yes.
Okay, and it's very important for our bones, for the bones.
Very good.
No,
I'm going to show you
I
this
don't
picture.
remember the other two.
It's going to help you out. This one.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, thank you. For our brain and the regulation of our temperature.
Very good. Only the pronunciation there, Gaston, is going to be temperature, but it's good, perfect.
Temperate.
The
Okay.
regulation of temperature, perfect. There you go. In the chat, Gaston, you can find it's 3/4. All right, three
Okay.
quarters of water. So again, I'm going to go to that picture, Gaston. Can you explain this thing that they are doing here? Let me here. What are they doing with this picture, Gaston?
Okay. I don't understand the import. I don't understand the last part of the banana really.
Okay, I'm going to help you out. The brain is 3/4 water. The
Okay.
heart is 3/4 water. And also a banana is 3/4 water. So they are making a
Oh.
comparison that the brain, the heart, and the banana, they all have the same composition. The three of
Okay.
them are 3/4 or 75% water. All right, that's why
Oh.
they are using a banana here. They are talking about moisture, which is humidity. All right, la humedad. So that's why they are using a banana because of the composition of the three elements. All right. I don't know if you have questions or if it was clear for you, Gaston.
No, teacher. That's great. Thank you.
Great, perfect. Now we're going to understand even a little bit more about this because here we have important vocabulary, Gaston. Look, I'm turning on the subtitles and we're going to understand the three of them. First,
Works to cushion and lubricate joints.
so the first role of water in our bodies is to cushion. This is cushion, all right? Cushion and lubricate, that's why they move, to cushion and lubricate joints. And joints are specific parts, right, related to bones, articulaciones, all right?
Okay.
Joints, articulaciones.
And what is the meaning of cushion?
Cushion is like this. Do you see? They are not touching each other, right? No se están tocando. That's to cushion. They are like amortiguando, right? They are making them like that. So it's going to be that like cushion and lubricate, ¿no? Y lubricar. Como amortiguar y lubricar. What? The joints, las articulaciones.
Okay.
Then you have,
Perfect.
Regulate temperature.
this is what you said very well, right? To regulate the temperature, right? So only the pronunciation and the stress is going to be temperature. The first part has the stress. La primera parte tiene el stress. Temperature. Good. And the last part,
And to nourish the brain and
this is interesting.
spinal cord.
All right, this is very interesting. To nourish. Gaston, do you have dogs or cats?
Yes.
Okay. When they are hungry, what do you do?
I take eat uh, meals.
Okay, exactly. There is a word that you use in English for that is feed. Feed. You feed your dogs. You feed your cats. In other words, you give them food. You give them nutrients, right? You give them vitamins, elements, important elements. Nourish is like feed. To nourish is to give important elements, to give nutrients or important elements so that
Nutrir.
something can survive. All right? So water nourish the brain and the spinal cord.
Okay, but nourish is the meaning of nourish is nutrir or what?
Yes, to give food, to give nutrients. Exactly. Very similar to that, nutrir. Even
Okay.
this comes from French. Esto incluso viene del francés, Gastón. Because in French you say la nourriture, que significa la comida. So to nourish is to give food, es dar comida. But in other words, to give nutrients, dar nutrientes o alimentar. All
Okay.
right? Good. So these are the three main functions of water in our bodies, right? So that is very, very important. And let me see how much time we got. Well, we are using more time, but let's finish with this last part. I'm going to play it one more time. Voy a reproducir una vez más. You are going to make me stop if you have any questions. Vamos a detenernos si tienes una pregunta. Estoy repitiendo los 30 segundos que ya vimos. So, Let's play it here.
Role does water play in our bodies, and how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%.
Right? And that's an extra thing that we're seeing. So the brain and the heart are similar to what? To a banana. But our lungs, right? These are our lungs. Our lungs are similar to an apple because they are 83% water, and that's a lot. Gaston, tell me.
No, our lungs are the pulmones, really?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Exactly. Those are the lungs. So as you can see, our lungs have lots of water, 83%.
To an
That's a
apple
lot,
at 83%.
right? And that's similar to what fruit? To an apple, right? To an apple. Now, because of time, we're going to be finishing here, Gaston. I don't know if you have any questions or final comments.
No, teacher, I understand all. Thank you.
That's great. Do you think that this is helpful for you, Gaston? ¿Piensas que esto es útil para ti, este tipo de trabajos que vamos a hacer este mes de este tipo?
Sí, porque quiero mejorar mi vocabulario sobre todo y mi speaking. Así que me parece bien que pueda hacerme preguntas y que le pueda hablar.
That's great. That's perfect. That's what I'm going to be doing. Every certain time, no cada cierto tiempo, voy preguntándote. And you're going to be adding more vocabulary, right? Y también vas añadiendo vocabulario como me dices, Gaston. Then we finish here.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. I'll be seeing you tomorrow for the class. All right?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Perfect. See
See
you tomorrow. You're welcome.
Okay, teacher.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good evening, teacher.
Hello, good evening, Lourdes. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. And you?
That's great. Everything is fine, Lourdes. Thank you very much. We're going to start working with a new way that is going to be related to some videos and watching them for a certain period of time and then stop there. And I'm going to ask you everything that you were able to understand, and we're going to have some conversation related to that. All right?
Okay.
Good. The first 30 seconds is going to be short. Only 30 seconds. I stop. No subtitles, all right? No captions, just like that. The pictures and everything is going to help a lot, but also the narrator and the speech, the pace of the speech is going to be kind of very understandable. So let's pay attention, and let's try to, if you want, take some notes with these first 30 seconds. Let's begin.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday.
Okay, so until that part, please, Lourdes, tell me everything that you were able to understand so far.
Okay. It says that water is in everything, um, from earth until to our cellular,
Okay, cells, yes, cells.
and in the human body, the percent of water depends on so many factors like age, like gender, and some others. And it could be um, 50, 55 to 65%, I think. And when we are babies, we have more percent of water on our body, and it is about 75% until the first year. It compares with fishes, the and in the first year, the percent of water goes down.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lourdes. Great. You were able to understand all the details over there. There are little things that we're going to go now to those like very little things, but again, you have like almost everything. Let's go to this part. Look, Lourdes, you were talking about cells. Yes, let's try to understand about those factors or elements that are going to affect, right, the percentage of water that we're going to have in our bodies. You were talking about location, very well. I think you also mentioned sex or age. But what are these for? By looking at these, Lourdes, what are the four elements that affect the percentage that we have in our bodies?
Um, it was about uh, locations, sex, um, the years.
Exactly. But how do you call that? Instead of years, you talk about age, right?
Age. Yes.
Very good. I'm going to play it one more time to get the one in the middle because this is not very common. This is not part of common language. Of course, sometimes if you go to the gym or if you went to the doctor because of something related to health, you know this. But let's listen to it. Just one more time. Only this part.
ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the
Okay, what are you able to understand in this part?
It was about the fat index that I
Yes,
think that it's the um, uh, in Spanish is like el índice de grasa corporal.
yeah, exactly. And it's body mass index, right?
Ah,
Índice de
okay.
masa corporal, right? Índice de masa corporal, exactly. The fat index or the body mass index. So these four factors are the factors that affect what? The percentage of water that we're going to have in our bodies. That is going to go from 55 up to 60%, right? That's going to be the percentage. So when you're talking about general ideas, we're going to say percentage, right? Percentage of water. But when we mention the numbers, we can use percent, right? So the percentage goes from 55% to 60%, exactly. Then you were making the comparison, and it was great. 75% that is similar to fish, right? To fish. But what happens in the first year of babies? It reduces to 65%, right? So that's why we say that age affects the percentage of water we have, right? Because the older you get, the less water you have in your body. Let's continue.
percent by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
Okay, let's stop there. The same thing, please, Lourdes. What were you able to understand in these following 30 seconds?
Okay, it says that water is so important in our body, and he asks the question about how much water we should drink for have a healthy body, uh, a healthy life.
Mhm.
And it says that water helps to um, um, I remember the rows, but I don't remember the words.
Okay,
Um,
I'm going to go to
it's
that part. I'm going to go to this picture over here. So, what is the role of water in our bodies according to these pictures? Only the things you can remember.
okay. It helps to the H2O. Helps to regulate our temperature. It helps to um, with the um, I don't know how to say it. Um, Articulaciones
Okay, good. Yes, joints. The joints.
with joints. And it mentioned something about the medulla too, but I don't remember very well what it said.
Good. Let's play one more time and let's listen to those three elements. But you have them very, very well. Let's listen to it.
The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
All right. So what did you get in this last part?
It helps to the nerves that goes to the brain and to the medulla uh, for spinal doors.
Exactly. Now you're going to read the exact words. You have the main idea there. That's great. But one more question over here, Lourdes. What is the specific function with these two things? You have this, that is the brain, and this that you're going to see in a moment. The specific, you have one word, but one little word is missing. But what is the function of water or the role of water with these two important elements? In which way
Uh,
it helps?
eh, um, it brings um, I don't know.
Don't worry. Let's
I don't
get it.
remember.
Now we're going to get this with subtitles because again, it's not that is because I know that you're listening to this very well, but this is terminology that we don't usually use, right? Even I don't use this terminology. But let's take a look at this with subtitles, and it's going to be a little bit easier. Look, the first
In our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature.
sorry, let's stop first here. So this is the first role of water in our bodies, to cushion, right, and lubricate the joints. First, right, the first role. The second one, sorry, to regulate the temperature. You got it very well. And this is the last one. All right, this verb is very important. Nourish the brain and the spinal cord. All right, the brain and the spinal cord. Now, what do you guess or what do you think that the meaning of nourish is, Louis?
Um, I really don't know that word, but mm, I don't know. Maybe give some oxygen. I'm not too sure.
Okay, very close to that, but more than oxygen. For example, nourish is the synonym of feed, F-E-E-D. Do you know the meaning of feed?
It's like eat maybe.
Very close is to give food. For example, you feed your dog, you feed your cat.
Uh, yes,
You,
yes, yes.
exactly. So when you talk about nourish, is to give nutrients, to give important
Oh,
elements, all right, related to nutrients, vitamins, or whatever an organ or an organism needs. All right, that's going to be nourish. So now we know the three functions or the three roles that water has in our bodies, right? To cushion and lubricate joints, to regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and the spinal cord, right? And also this last part, I have a question for you. This one, what is the well? You have that over there, but just by looking at the picture, what is the purpose of this video and why are they showing this comparison?
um, I don't remember. I was so concentrated
Don't
in in the last part,
all right.
so I
Don't
lost the idea.
okay. I'm going to play it one more time, but you're going to see that it's easy. Look, let's listen to this last part.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're
Isn't
welcome.
only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
All right. So, what is the idea over there, Lucas? What do you get there?
Okay, it says that our brain and heart have uh, 3/4 of water, um, and it's mm, like I like compositions of a banana, I
Yes,
think.
yes, yeah, that's good. Exactly, Lourdes. The composition of these three elements, the brain, the heart, and the banana, is the same because the three of them are 3/4 water. it means 75% water, right? That's a lot. And that's really interesting, right? You know that these three elements have the same composition in terms of the percentage of water that they are made of, right? That's really interesting. Now, I know that we finished, but we're going to check only one little part,
In a
this one.
banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even
Right, and this one.
seemingly dry human bones are 31% water.
All right. So again, just to understand, how can you explain this picture over here?
It says that lungs have approximately 83% of water, and
Correct.
that's equal like an apple.
Exactly. That's correct, right? That's like the equivalent, right? That equals to an apple, which is also composed by 83% water. And also they say, right, even seemingly, what is the meaning? I'm going to turn on the subtitles. Seemingly is like apparently, right? Apparently bones are dry, right? Dry. What is the meaning of dry? Dry is the opposite of wet, right? Even these seemingly dry human bones are
Human
31%
bones are
water,
31% water.
right? Now, we finish here, Lourdes, but I want to know if you have, first, if you knew all these facts about water, and second, if you have any final questions or comments before finishing.
Um, I didn't know the really importance of water. I knew that it is, and I know that it is very important to our body, and practically it is in everywhere. But until now, I didn't notice the the big importance, and that um, almost all our body
Yes,
it's composed by water.
yes,
Um, so it's a very curious uh, dato.
you can say only information instead of that, because if you say data
Ah,
or it's only information, huh? Very curious
okay.
information. Okay, yes, I agree with you because usually, right, we know that water is important, but we don't really know what are like the benefits, right, of drinking water. You're nourishing your brain, your spinal cord, you're helping your bones, you're helping your lungs, and actually, like every organ that you have is composed by water, right? So it's very important. So we're going to be finishing here, Lourdes. And this is my last question. I don't know if it's good for you to work like this month. We're going to be watching some videos and discussing or having conversations with it. Does it work for you?
Yes, yes, I really like it.
Great. That's great to know, Lourdes. Then this is going to be the methodology we're going to be using this month. Thank you for being in today's conversation, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next class.
Okay, teacher, bye.
Bye bye. Good night.
If we are essentially made of water and surrounded by water, why do we still
Hello, good evening, Andrea. Are you there?
Yes, teacher. Good evening.
Great. Let's begin with everything now, Andrea. You know that we are working with a new, let's say, methodology. I'm going to be sharing my screen to show you a video, and this is going to be the dynamic, Andrea. I'm going to play this without subtitles, without captions, for only 30 seconds. I stop, and you tell me everything you understood. We have a conversation about that. I'm going to ask for more details. We're going to go back and we're going to try to listen and watch it with subtitles to solve all the dots. And we're going to continue that way. All right. So let's begin with that logic, please. Andrea, the first 30 seconds, please, let's pay attention and let's listen to everything.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish.
All right. Until that part. Those are the first 30 seconds, Andrea. What were you able to understand? What can you tell me about this video?
Okay, teacher. In the first part, I understood that uh, water is everywhere, and but only I understand with pictures the other part that with land and ice, but uh,
Good.
the other words I can't uh, understand. And then there are many factors and maybe that can influence
Affect.
like
It's better if you say
affect
affect. Great.
like location. um I don't remember location and uh, the other uh, um, and also a how can I say compuesto?
Composed.
Uh, okay. We are composed about 55 and 60% of water, and the babies are composed I maybe 50, maybe 75%. That's the reason that they can swim like fish.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yes, because they are making a comparison with fish, right? Great. Now we're going to go back, Andrea. I think it's great. You got the main information. That's perfect. Now we're going to understand the details that you said that you couldn't hear or you couldn't understand, and we're going to go to the factors that you were mentioning. All right, great. So far, we're doing great. So let's start here,
Everywhere, from
right?
soil.
So one more time,
Water is virtually everywhere.
right? That's easy, right? They say that water is virtually everywhere.
From soil moisture and ice.
This is soil. What is soil? This is soil. All right, this is soil. Moisture is like this, very close to a word wet. All right, the humidity. That's soil moisture. All right, soil moisture. And to help you out, this is the words. All right, soil. This is soil, and moisture is related to humidity. And ice caps, what are ice caps?
Ice caps.
These are ice caps. All right, those are ice caps. And even we have water where? In our cells, right? Inside our
The
body.
cells inside our own bodies.
Good. Now I'm going to turn out them off again to go to the next part. Here are the four elements or the four like things that are going to affect the percentage of water. Let's pay attention, please, Andrea.
Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex,
All right. So what are those factors, Andrea?
Location, years and sex. What is VMI? I think is índice de masa corporal.
Yes, correct. Uh-huh. And they call it fat index or body mass index, right? Body mass index, or as they call it, I'm going to turn on the subtitles, fat index. You're going to see. So location,
factors like location, fat index,
right? Fat index or body mass index, very well. Instead of years, it's better if you say
age, and
age,
sex, the
right? Good. So we have location, fat index, age, and sex affect what? The percentage that we have. And what's the average? 55 to 60%.
average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish.
Exactly. Right? So they are making the comparison with fish because of the composition of water, which is 75%. Now let's keep listening, Andrea. I don't know if you have questions until this part.
Yes, teacher. Swimmingly. It's like.
Yes, we don't have this word in Spanish, Andrea. When we're talking about like swimmingly, is saying this in other words. In terms of swimming, babies are similar to fish, all right, in this area of swimming, all right. That's why perhaps babies are used to water, all right, and also because of the composition. But swimmingly, that comes from swimming, right? It means that you know that sometimes baby can easily be in water, right? It refers to that, Andrea. I don't know if you get the idea.
Yes, yes, teacher.
Okay, good. Let's continue listening. Please pay attention, Andrea. You're going to tell me why or how the percentage in babies is reduced, and try to understand also what are the three, all right, what are the three roles that water has in our bodies, all right. But in general, try to pay attention to everything. If you don't get those ideas, try to explain everything in the next 30 seconds. So let's begin.
But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
Okay, until that part, the same procedure, please, Andrea. What were you able to understand here?
Yes, teacher. That the water is can help us to lubricate joints and
Okay.
regulate the temperature and maybe uh, nurse the brain
Good, good, perfect.
brain
Mhm.
and the babies loss whether when they uh, grow
Mhm.
one
Exactly.
year maybe
Good, good.
um that teacher.
That okay, that's perfect. Now this picture here, the last thing I want you to explain here, please, Andrea. What is happening in this picture? Why are they comparing brain, heart, and a banana?
uh, about monster mo-
Good, moisture. Okay,
moisture.
moisture. Exactly. So in other words, their composition, right? The brain, the heart, and the banana, right? They share the composition of 3/4 water. It means that all of them are composed by 75% water, right? So that's really interesting. Now, let's go back and let's try to you mentioned this, which is really good. But let's try to use this vocabulary and try to use the exact words. You got this word, which is really great, Andrea, nourish, right? But let's go to the first one first. So the first role, to cushion, right? To cushion and lubricate the joint. You got it. Great. The second function is to, sorry, regulate temperature, right? Be careful with the stress. Instead of temperature, it's going to be temperature. Good. So it regulates the temperature and it nourishes the brain, and not only the brain, the spinal cord. All right. I don't know if we have questions about these words, Andrea.
Yes, teacher. What is a cottage?
This one over here, you're talking about this cushion?
Cushion. Cushion.
Okay. Cushion, as you can see, what's happening here in the picture, Andrea? This is one joint and this is one joint. The joints are not touching. There is something like a pillow. Do you know what's a pillow?
Menisco.
No, it's going to be pillow. When you go to sleep, you put your head on the pillow. All right,
Okay.
that's a pillow. And how's the pillow? The pillow is soft, right? And what is the function of the pillow? The pillow makes your head and your bed to have a softer contact. Okay, that's cushion. And using Spanish is like saying, the word just went out, is like saying amortiguar. All right, something like that. All right, that's
Okay.
going to be like cushion. It makes the contact between these two softer. They don't hit each other. They don't touch each other. Like your head with the bed, right? Your head touches the pillow, but it doesn't touch the bed. Of course, sometimes it can touch, but that's the idea over there. I don't know if you get that idea. And
Yeah, yes, teacher. Thanks.
good, perfect. Let's try to go now. I know that we don't have that much time, so only 10 seconds. You're going to tell me about the other organs.
And heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana. Lungs are more similar to an apple at 83%, and even seemingly dry human bones are 31% water. If we are
Okay, so what can you get there, Andrea? What else did they compare, and what can you tell me about the percentage of water in other parts of our body?
Uh, the video compares the legs with apples and the uh, the percent of water perhaps is 83%.
Good.
And the bones also when they are dry also they have water maybe.
Yeah, yes, but exactly. Usually we think, and this is we're going to understand that. It's great to finish this conversation. The first one, great. Be careful with this pronunciation. Lungs, right? The lungs are 83% water, just as the apple, right? So lungs and apple are going to be the same. They have the same composition in terms of water. Then you have this seemingly is like apparently, right? Like you think that the bones are dry, but actually bones are not dry, right? Bones are composed by, what is their composition? 31% water,
are 31% water.
right? And that's also a lot. So even parts of our body that we believe, right, that they are seemingly dry, They are not totally or they are not dry at all. They have always this composition of at least a little bit of water. Now we're finished with this. I don't know if you have any final questions or comments before finishing, Andrea.
No, not teacher.
Okay, that is great. So look, this is the way we're going to be working. I want to know if you feel that this works with you, Andrea. Do you believe that this is a good way of practicing English for you?
Yes, teacher. For me, it's very important because the most difficult thing for me is the listening. Uh,
Great. Perfect. Then, Andrea, we're going to be working this way. In this way, you have many benefits, right? You practice listening, you practice speaking, but as an extra thing, you can also learn interesting things about many other areas, right? Because we're going to be watching videos about water, about, I don't know, music, about mathematics, and many things so that you can learn new vocabulary and apply it as well. All right?
yes, teacher. Thank you.
Perfect. No, you're very welcome. I'll see you tomorrow to continue with the class, Andrea. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a great night.
Okay, teacher. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Bye bye. See you tomorrow. Hello, good evening, Abel. How are you?
Good evening, teacher. I'm great. How's everything,
That,
teacher?
that's great. Everything is going well, Abel. Thanks for asking. So we're going today to start with this new dynamic of work, which is related to watching some videos, well, part of videos, and having conversations related to. This is how this is going to work, Abel. I'm going to play it, no subtitles, no captions, for only 30 seconds. I stop there, and you're going to try to tell me everything that you were able to understand. And all the doubts or questions that you have, perhaps, or something that you were not able to listen to, we're going to go back and we're going to try to understand it together. All right, so let's begin. The first 30 seconds.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So,
Okay, so until that part, please, Abel. Tell me everything that you were able to understand, and after that, we're going to try to go little by little.
Yes. The water is an elemental uh,
Mhm.
for 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 the for 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 our and it's important in the around the world. And um, the humans we the humans are 60% of
Good.
water in and the babies uh,
Mhm.
after first year uh, they are 75% of water. Before uh, first year uh, a baby reduce uh, the amount of
Okay.
water to 65% approximately.
Okay, okay, great. I think you got very important elements over there, Abel. Now I'm going to make some observations about that. Everything seems to be great. Remember, instead of its element or its, you can say elemental or it's important for, instead of our, right? It's better if you say for us, right? Or for our existence or for our survival or for our bodies or something like that, right? So instead of our only if we are going to use an object over there, right? But great, yes, water
Okay.
is elemental, is important, vital, crucial, right? We can use all those words. Great, good. Now this is my question here, Abel, in the last part to verify. So when is the baby 75% and when is the baby 65%? Is it 75 when the baby is born or after the first year? And what happens exactly in the first year or when the baby becomes 1 year old?
Mm, I think the baby is 70. No, a baby have 75% of water when 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 baby born,
Okay,
and
good.
and the reason of this percent reduce because no, I don't know what's the reason.
All right, but it's perfect so far. And we're going to talk about factors that affect the percentage that we have in our bodies. So the first thing that you were saying, Abel, was good. You can say the baby is, right? And we don't need to use has. You can say the baby is 75% water, right? When is born, right? When the baby just born, or at birth, you can say, right? When you say at birth, it means when the baby is born. Yes, at birth, the baby is 75% water, and the older we get, it means time passes, the water, right, starts reducing. And you're going to see this is something we took a look in these first 30 seconds, but we're going to try to understand this again. Pay attention to these 10 seconds or so, please, Abel. We're going to listen to four factors again that affect the percentage of water
inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human,
right? So what are those factors that affect the percentage of water we have? That also make us understand why babies lose some percentage in the first year.
Yes. Location, uh, sex, and
Okay.
um,
And what?
years or ages.
Okay, exactly. We have location, perfect. You have age, very good, and sex. Now we have one more. What do you think is this one in the, well, on the left part, kind of the middle?
Uh, no, teacher, I don't understand. I don't hear very well that.
Don't worry. It's kind of new because we don't use this word that often, Abel. I'm going to play it one more time. Try to catch it. If not, we're going to see the subtitles.
factors like location, fat index, age, and sex
All right. What do you get? What do you get in that part?
I heard fat
bodies.
index.
Depending on
Perfect.
factors like location, fat index,
Perfect. Let me turn it on. Yes. Fat index. It's like the body mass index, right? The
Yes.
body mass index, the fat index. It means location, your weight, or your body mass index, or fat index.
age, and sex, the
Exactly. So why is the baby losing 10% when the baby is like 1 year old? Because age affects the percentage, because body mass index affects the percentage. So as you know that when you're a baby and you're growing up, your body is changing in many ways, right? That's why the percentage of water and all those elements also can change dramatically, right? So these are factors, important factors that affect the percentage that I have, that it goes from 55% up to 60% in average. Some of us can have 55, some of us 58, 60. It depends on the factors that we saw before. Do you have any specific questions before going to the next 30 seconds, Abel?
No, teacher.
Good. Let's go then to the next part, starting here. Let's pay attention, please. They are going to mention roles that water has in our body.
being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how much do we actually need to drink to stay healthy? The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord. Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
All right, until that part, Abel, what else were you able to understand in that part?
Well, the water to help our bodies to lubricate and um, the water uh, help to um, our column, our, and um, uh, I don't remember, teacher.
That's it. Okay, no, that's great, Abel. We're going to go to that part. You got very interesting information there, Abel. We're going to expand that information. Let's go little by little. So, first, right, they want to know about the importance of water, right? Why do we need water? And what's the role that water, right, has with our body, right? Or they ask it like that. What role does water play in our bodies? And they go to the first part and they start, and also they ask, right, how much water do we need to drink to stay healthy, right? Those are the important questions. So let's go to the main parts that you were describing then, Abel. With those two questions, they ask it in these three categories or explanations, right? Sorry, what's happening? What's the third one? Okay, so water, right? The role of water is related to what? This. What is happening here? There are two elements that are connected by something with water. Here is related to what? Temperature, right? And here, something related to the brain and one other part of our body. So I'm going to play this one more time, Abel. Try to get some information, and I'm going to stop as soon as they finish this little part.
Works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
All right, so what did you get there, Abel?
Spinal cord,
Perfect, good.
yes,
Spinal cord.
and the water help. The water regulate the temperature our
Exactly.
of our bodies.
Perfect. Exactly. And the main, also, I'm going to turn the subtitles over here. We have some important vocabulary here. Look, the H2O, right, in our bodies works to cushion. This is to cushion. This is a joint and this is another joint. These are joints. The joints are not together. They are not touching each other, right? They are not touching each other. That's cushion, all right? Cushion is like make the contact softer. For example, your head, when you go to sleep, Abel, you put your head on the pillow, right?
Yeah.
And the pillow cushions, right, the contact with your bed. That's cushion. So it cushion and lubricate joints. Let's listen to it
Regulate temperature.
one more time.
The H2O in our bodies works to cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and to nourish the brain and spinal cord.
Right? So let's check the stress in temperature. Many people say like that, but it's going to be temperature, right? So cushion and lubricate joints, regulate temperature, and nourish. This is a very important verb. Nourish the brain and the spinal cord. I don't know if you have questions about these words, Abel.
Yes, the meaning of nourish.
Nourish, I was giving this example to your partners as well. Do you have any dogs or do you have any pets in general, Abel?
Yes, yes.
Good. What action do you do when they are hungry, when they want to eat?
I I give I I give their their croquetas.
Okay, yes, you can say only like crackers as well, but in general, what is that? That's food, right? You give them food, but that has a very specific word, Abel. You say F-E-E-D, feed, right? To feed is to give food, to give nutrients, to give important elements. So nourish is the synonym of feed. To nourish means to give important elements to something, all right? To give food to something. So H2O or water, in other words, is giving important elements, nutrients, all right, components to the brain and the spinal cord to be healthy. Well, in other words, to make them work. All right. I don't know if you understand what that idea, the word nourish of it.
Yes, teacher, it's clear.
Great. Perfect. Let's go now. I think we have a little more time. Let me see. No, I think we're going to finish here, but I want to ask you this. This is the other important part of it. What do you think they are doing in this part of the picture? What is the purpose?
Mm, Well, the purpose of this picture is to show that our um, our brain and heart is compounded of 33 3/4 of water.
Ah, exactly. And that I'm going to tell you the right way. And what is the similarity? Why are they showing a banana there?
Uh, a banana have a banana is the same um, amount of water
Mhm.
that of brain and heart.
Exactly. There you go. Perfect, David. They are making a comparison between our organs, in this case the brain and the heart, and a banana because they say that those three elements are three quarters. All right, you're going to call it like that. Three quarters. All right, three quarters of water. That is 75%. Right. Let's listen to it. Listen to how they say three quarters, and you're going to see the spelling here in the subtitles. You see it, right? An adult's brain and heart are almost three quarters water. All right? Three quarters water. Let's listen to it.
Heart are almost 3/4 water.
I did it before.
Water isn't only in our blood. An adult's brain and heart are almost 3/4 water. That's roughly equivalent to the amount of moisture in a banana.
Right? So they are making this comparison again. Three quarters. That's equivalent to why? What is moisture? Moisture is very similar to the word humidity, wet. All right. In other words, the banana is also composed, right, by 75% water. That's why they are comparing these three elements. Any final questions or comments before finishing this conversation of it?
No, teacher. No, it's clear and interesting
Great.
video.
That's great. Yes, this is what we're going to be doing, Abel, to practicing because I think it helps also practicing your listening, right? Do you believe that this is a good exercise for you to practice your skills, Abel?
Yes, teacher. Yes.
That's great. All right. So you're going to be watching with me many videos about many topics. As you can see here, only on my screen, you can see, for example, things like the history, right, of bananas, what happens when you don't sleep, right? Some things that are really interesting. And at the same time, we're also going to be practicing our English skills, right? Listening, speaking, and also you're going to be learning some new vocabulary. So let's finish here. Thank you for being in today's conversation, Abel. I hope it was something helpful for you, and I'll see you tomorrow if it's possible for the class. All right?
Okay, teacher. Thanks a
Perfect.
lot, teacher.
You're welcome. Have a good night, Abel.
Good night, teacher.
Bye bye.